This is Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell on the Forge Audio Network.
Forge fans, welcome back to another episode. Today is October 9th, 2023. I'm your host, Mackenzie Barwell, here to give you all things Forge FC. First and foremost, happy Thanksgiving. I hope everyone is eating good and enjoying some quality time with your families today. And also a big happy birthday to Abu Sissoko. In today's episode, I'll just go over what went down this past weekend and then give some clarity as to what it means for the playoffs, because the result kind of made it confusing to understand what happens next. So let's get right into it. A heated game on Saturday. If you were there, you'd know 6 yellow cards given out, split 50-50 between each team. Ultimately, Forge would conclude their regular season with a narrow 1-0 loss. Ottawa's Elias Elidas scoring that lone goal of the match early in the second half to snap Atletico Ottawa's 7-game winless streak. And despite multiple chances back and forth, that would be the only goal scored. And honestly, I have to give it to Ottawa, because for a team who knows that they're out of the playoffs and simply playing for pride at this point, they looked pretty lively right out the gate. Nathan Ingham, their goalkeeper, making some fantastic saves, particularly in a few plays with Kyle Becker, and center back Manjikar James, who had a couple dangerous chances. However, despite the loss, Forge has still secured second place going into the playoffs, and that's because of the way that the other games unfolded around the league between First Pacific and Cavalry and second Halifax and York. And I think what a lot of people were confused about on Saturday was why Forge wasn't showing a ton of urgency in those final minutes of the game. And it's because Halifax won, so they tied Forge with not only 42 points, wins, and goal differential. The only determining factor between the two teams was away point differential, so that would decide who takes the second place. And down 1-0, Forge still had that advantage, so based on what we saw, I think the move was to play it safe, because had they attacked more and maybe dropped balls in behind Ottawa's defensive line, they would have made themselves a lot more open to a counterattack and risk being scored on than potentially dropping down to third place. Now that sounded a little bit like an essay, but I think you guys get the point. All right, let's move on to the post-match press conference, because we heard from Coach Kyt Garven Metusala.
Our goal was always to finish as high as possible in the standings. Today we reached it. A little bit tricky with a loss, but we achieved what we wanted. We finished second, so now we just gotta get ready for what's next. We're familiar to those games, so we're excited. Boys are excited. We're excited as a staff, as a club. Again, we'll prepare the same way we prepared through the whole season. Again, for us, it's a big match next week, but we've played many of them in the past couple of years here. So we're familiar to it. Nothing pretty much is going to change. We're going to tweak a couple of things here and there, but Coach Bobby had a good plan, and we're going to be good with it.
Obviously, we're happy, but we would have liked to end on a win. But we got to say, I guess, thanks to Cavalry for winning and helping us finishing second. So, like I said, at least we finished on a bad note, but on a good note as well. So we just gotta pick it up. As lead, the good thing is that we haven't lost a lot at home. We've had a lot of ties, but playoff matches we're made for that. So we know that Forge in the past always wakes up in playoff games. So hopefully this year is going to be the same thing, and hopefully we can get a win in front of our fans and make it to the final again. We've created a lot of chances this year, but we haven't managed to concretize the chances. We just gotta work again this week and try to, because we know that next week is gonna be a tough game. We're probably not gonna see a high score again between us and Cavalry, is always by one goal by one goal. So I think that next week is just gonna be the team that's being the most clinical that's gonna get the win, and so that's what we gotta work on.
I should also mention, by the way, that Pacific would not be a threat because they lost 3-0 to Cavalry on Saturday, which leads me to my next point. This is a team who's coming in with a lot of momentum, so now the spotlight will shift to Forge's semifinal matchup against Cavalry on October 14th at Atco Field, 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Forge's home playoff match is yet to be finalized. It'll either be October 21st or 28th, so keep an eye out for future announcements on that. Maybe tentatively mark both down in your calendar. That's all for today's episode. For those of you who came out to that game against Atletico this past weekend for our fan appreciation game, thank you so much. I had a phenomenal time giving out probably 17 different prizes at halftime. I hope you guys got to see that because it was pretty entertaining, just as much as it was chaotic. But anyways, I hope to see you all at our next home playoff game. We'll close it out there. Thank you so much for listening, and enjoy the rest of your Thanksgiving weekend. I'm gonna go eat some turkey dinner.
This has been Forge Daily with Mackenzie Barwell. If you like what you heard, please like, follow, subscribe, comment, and share.